So, Brandon, thank you for joining us here at Green River Hill Grocery tonight to
Absolutely.
talk travel and road tripping in Kentucky. We can't wait to pick your brain a little bit about some of your favorite places and experiences you've had, what you look for in in places that you decide to go to. I know there are things we all do that we just happen into places, but when you decide, let's start there, I guess. When you decide you're taking a trip, you've got a weekend. What are you looking for when you choose destinations here in Kentucky?
Well, I think, we're so privileged and lucky to have this Southern hospitality. There haven't been a lot of places that I've been that I haven't felt like I've been welcomed in or that feels like home. I want a place that I know is going to bring something new to the experience. Growing up, I didn't really get to vacation a lot. So here lately, I've been able to find out about all of these places here locally. So just the ability to go and have a new experience, especially here in South Central Kentucky, the caves that we have, getting to go in those caves and seeing all those different formations. I'm a big outdoors person, so maybe something that's cool outdoors, maybe something that has some good food along the way.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot lately with tourism commissions in the state. Like you've become a full-fledged influencer, we believe. And are you feeling that? Are you
Do you feel the weight of that?
like you do influence what people do?
Yeah, I never really thought that I would see myself like doing what I'm doing now. And just during the summer, me and Tony went out to the Green River, and it wasn't just that I was able to go there. We went and saw this little like blue hole that I don't think that everybody gets to see. And so it's really fun to be able to take people places. And I think a lot of people don't know what's here like locally. And so I didn't even know, being here from 2014 until now. I even worked for local news, and I went a lot of places, and I had no idea that vacations were right in my backyard.
Mm-hmm. So many things to do.
So many
And
things.
so many places to go. What have been some of your favorite? I mean, yes, catching a blue hole on a beautiful day with weather fabulous on the Green River is a prized moment. Not everyone gets to do
It's an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have been some other things that have happened?
I know I've talked about the caves. Out of all the caves, I loved all the caves here. Diamond Caverns, so beautiful. I mean, Mammoth Cave is spectacular. The rotunda that's there, how big the actual opening is there. But Onyx Cave in Cave City, so beautiful. I've never seen in all the caves I've been in, the formations that are there, the love and the care that the owners there put into it, Missy Shields. I mean, it's just amazing. Mammoth Valley Park over in Cave City, I'd never zipped line in my entire life. And so to be able to do that, and it's not just, your typical zip line. I mean, you're up like
It's
several
a valley.
It's literally,
a valley.
that's, I'm sure that's probably where they got their name from.
Yeah.
But you really are like, I mean, it's several hundred feet.
Yeah.
I mean, I
That's a
don't even
massive
know.
zip line.
It is. I mean, it could be 1,000 feet in the air,
Yeah.
but it's really high up there. But Mammoth Valley Park was beautiful. The Wigwam Village, being able to see inside of it. Not a lot of people, get to see inside of them, and being restored. And it's just crazy to think that like coming from Eastern Kentucky to here and being able to see all this. People come from states away to see this, and I'm just zipping around here on a weekend.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
In South Central Kentucky, we really are privileged to have so many. And I think it goes back to a point you just made about so many of these places, even caves, are locally owned entities. They are properties that people lovingly maintain, like the wigwam owners that are restoring and renovating. So, each one of the wigwams, one at a time, basically, they've had to do they were in small groups, and then caves can be individually owned. That is such an odd, even for those of us who have been here for so long, that's still such an odd thought. So I mean, a lot goes into these amazing places that people have to maintain for all of us to get to travel to, whether we're locals or travelers from a long way. Now, you grew up in Appalachia.
Yeah. Yeah. Very rural where
Well, I
I'm
mean,
from.
yeah, a lot of South Central Kentucky is Appalachia as well, but you grew up in around Jenny Wiley State Park.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be the heart of Appalachia, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Growing up about 10 minutes from Loretta Lynn's home place, the Pistolantes, if you've heard of them, Angelina Presley, she's from Martin County. Her mom was my gym teacher.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so in Tyler Childers, he grew up Louisa. That's about Louisa, Kentucky. It's about 25 minutes from my homestead. So I've always loved the outdoors, and I never realized how much I loved Eastern Kentucky. We were talking just a little bit before I started here about when I first came here. I got made fun of for my accent a little bit. My roommate was from Louisville, Kentucky, and he called me a British hillbilly.
British Hillbilly. That's an unusual title.
And he was kind of mean here and there, but he was just kind of poking fun. And then one day I was in the printing lab, how country I said that, the printer lab at Western, and I said something. Somebody asked me a question there, and I responded to the girl that was there, and she needed help with something, and she said, "Are you from London?" London, Kentucky, and she thought London, England. So I don't know. I feel very privileged to grow up in the country.
Yeah.
It's I know that you guys do farming, and you guys have a big respect for people that are from the country, and it's weird to see like the culture kind of shift, right? Like now people want to be like from the country, and country music's being embraced, and so I feel like that's one of the reasons why Kentucky is starting to grow in its tourism and even population.
Would you say in all your travels that a lot of the places that you've been are definitely possible day trips, like for people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what's cool is a lot of the places that are here, they're so close to each other in proximity. You can swing by, start your trip early on the Green River, go out and do some kayaking and canoeing, and then maybe head over to Big Mike's Rock Shop and look at all of the cool stuff. And listen, I did something there during the summer. People love rocks.
People
Yeah.
love rocks.
And they'll spend a lot of money for a rock. And
Absolutely.
it's crazy. So yeah, they're very close to each other. And there's so much just here in the area that you could cover a couple of different places probably in a day if you had the full day to do it.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about a day trip is that it reduces the cost. If you can get there and back in a day, that really it makes more travel possible for any budget, really. So where would you recommend if someone were day tripping back over in the eastern part where you grew up? What other than Loretta Lynn's place, of course, which is a almost like a mecca for so many who value the country music and her story. What other places would you recommend in that area for traveling and make sure you stop? Like I know you had mentioned to us before a place in Inez for pizza. So what are some other places like that?
Okay, so I will have to mention that in my hometown in Inez, Kentucky, there's a place called Pizza Stop, and it's known around the area for their pizzas, their subs, their salads. I mean, people will come. We'd have district games, and you wouldn't be able to get in the parking lot. It would be so busy because people knew when they stopped in from Lawrence County or McGoffin County or wherever that they had to stop in and get something there. I love Jenny Wiley because that was like where we went. Like that place has a special place in my heart. It really does.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is
And-
gorgeous.
And it's very isolated.
It is.
Yeah. So you really feel very secluded back there. And it's home to elk, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not something you can see everywhere in Kentucky.
And they actually have, I don't know if it's multiple times throughout the year, but like, I think it might be like one night or a week or something. I always heard of elk night. So they actually serve elk
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At the park.
at
the
the
state
park. Yeah. Yeah. And it's beautiful out there. That's probably one of the nicest campgrounds. I think you guys maybe said that you've been there. I
We have
believe
visited.
it's so nice. I have so many memories. That place is so many emotions comes out because I spent many nights around a campfire there.
Mhm.
That was what we did. You know, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so we'd go and take a camper, or
Sure.
you know, we'd
Spend
pitch.
the night
Yeah,
under the stars.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what else? I need Loretta Lynn,
Loretta Lynn,
Jenny Wiley.
Jenny Wiley. We do have a little bit of arts there too, with the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg, Kentucky.
Okay.
They have like shows throughout the year. We'd always go there to see the Nutcracker, but they've actually started to do like musical artists there.
Okay.
So I think they'll have some stuff throughout the year.
Cool.
It's crazy because if you're someone who likes trail riding,
Mhm.
we would always, like, that was my pastime growing up, was just going on the trails back in my hometown in Eastern Kentucky, or in Inez. They've actually started to do paid trail rides. I believe it's somebody that is maybe affiliated with like the Hatfield and McCoy
Okay.
type stuff, I believe.
Okay.
So now some of the locals aren't too happy about it because
Right.
I don't know if there's like a partnership that they can go for free.
Gotcha.
But you know, people love taking their ATVs and going
Sure.
out there. So I'd have to think,
That's
honestly.
okay. I mean, that's a lot of good tips,
Yeah.
especially pizza stop.
Yeah, pizza stop. That's the highlight there.
Yeah. Yeah. So in 2025, as you look forward to what, have you gotten anything planned already, or are there things that you're like, I didn't get to do this and I really want to do that? Things that you're going to try to get in this year.
When you do stuff like this, you talked about the influence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of like responsibility that comes with it. And
Heck yeah.
you don't think about it when you're doing it, you know, and you're out and somebody says, hey, you know, it just warms my heart when it's like, especially a small business,
Yes.
they're like, hey, can you come over to my aunt's antique store?
Yeah.
Or, the Dog Pound in Cave City messaged me recently and was like, hey, we'd love to have you over. So I don't really have my full scope planned out yet. There are a couple restaurants and stuff that I would like to kind of dive into and kind of see, but I have a lot of requests.
Mhm.
But this cold weather, I'm just like, got to take a little
Yeah.
pause.
Right.
So,
Right.
but 2025, I feel like this is going to be just a great year. You know, I feel like I had this this full plethora of things that I did, all this content creation that I did, all this wonderful help and friends that I made along the way with all these tourism partners.
Mhm.
So don't really have anything exactly lined up,
Okay.
but I know that things are going to become.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Many delicious meals, probably, and outdoor adventures,
Yes.
and just discovery of so many things. Have you? Let's hit you with some suggestions.
Okay.
You want to? Okay. Have you been to the Danville Dollhouse Museum?
I have not.
Oh,
Got to go there.
yeah.
Okay.
You go next. I don't know. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. We didn't think
That
about
was
this.
the American Girl
That was
doll.
that. Well, no, you're thinking about. Yeah, we've done that too, but that's
Okay.
not in Kentucky. But the dollhouse in Danville is amazing. Have you been to any speakeasies in Louisville? They're fun
I have not.
because it takes a little figuring those out to get to them. Louisville Tourism also is sponsoring for their second year Bluegrass, which is a series of bluegrass concerts that they have throughout the city. So that's another fun thing. We haven't caught one of those yet, but we want to do that
Yeah.
this year. We would like to go to the Beaumont Inn in Harrisburg, or it's Mercer County. Is it Harrisburg? I'm not
Harrisburg.
sure if it's, yeah. So, I mean, we're still figuring all this out too, but Kentucky has so many unique places, and we love it when people will write in and say, hey, Kentucky Road Trips, or hey, Road Trip C, have you considered or did you know? Because we don't know. We're just like everybody else. But once we go, we can't wait to tell everybody what our experiences have been and give, a real true look at what people are doing there. So, especially when it's the small business
You guys stay busy. Like you guys are pumping out content, and I've learned about so many different places that I never even knew were out there. So
we love catching, a few hours, a half a day, even an overnight when we can, and going. And I mean, there's still so much. As much as we have done, there's still so much we haven't seen and tasted. And we love trails. So many trails we haven't been on yet. So we've been on. We've been to every Kentucky State Park.
wow.
So if you haven't done that, I would definitely say,
Yeah.
they're amazing. But last year we went on some trails at a state park that we had never been on. So, it's always, we love the trails.
Shecker Village, Pleasant Hill. Have you been up there?
So okay, I haven't been there, but isn't there like a shaker type thing near Auburn? Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
There's two Shaker communities that actually existed here in Kentucky once upon a time. And a lot of work has gone into preserving those structures and the land and the barns and things. And it's a privilege to get to go and tour those. You mentioned Amish. Also, there's a strong Amish communities in several of our Kentucky towns now. Even over in Liberty, there's a what's the name of that valley?
Peace Valley. No,
No.
that's Edmonson County.
I know. So, but there's just beautiful places all over the state. You really can't beat the Commonwealth. And we have, like we mentioned, we've gone to every Kentucky State Park. We've also gone to several in Tennessee, and Tennessee's are beautiful as well. But there's just really something special about Kentucky State Parks, we think.
I think so too. There's a lot of pride, I think, that go into this. Just meeting some of the park directors, like I
Yes.
stayed over at No Lynn,
Right.
and I mean they were working like after hours.
Mhm.
There's just so much love that goes into it.
They want to ensure that the guest experience is excellent, I think. I loved your video with the little animals that they helped you all encounter at the state park.
Yes.
We also have great animal encounter places around here. It's insane that there are so many in South Central Kentucky. So Kentucky Down Under, there's Dutch Country Safari Park, there's farms. Kentucky has some great agritourism as well. I don't know. I know you went to Denison's this year. Did you go to some other places? We went to Dana Brook, which is in Mercer County as well. It was really neat.
I went to Bear Wallow. I mean, you all
Okay,
heard
yes.
of that. It was, and they have seasonal stuff. They had something for Christmas, and they had a whole setup for the fall and Halloween, and it was beautiful out there. And I think they even had like some small amusement park rides that were there. They're nothing major, but still.
Yeah, fun. Just
Yeah.
fun for families. Now,
Yes.
speaking of Halloween, have you done the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular in Louisville?
Okay.
Is that on your calendar for 2020?
I had someone invite me to go out. I unfortunately didn't get to go, but
Okay.
every year
Make
I
sure.
see those pictures and videos,
That's right.
and the FOMO starts
I know.
pouring in.
Yeah.
It's real.
It's beautiful. I mean,
It's
there's so much time
spectacular.
Yeah.
that they're putting into that. I don't know how they set all that up, but
The artists that spend so many hours doing that, it really is impressive. Make sure you put that on your 2025 calendar for sure.
And the new haunted trail in Bonaire,
Oh my
name
gosh.
of it.
You
Okay.
did that too.
yes,
The haunted.
I was amazed
yes.
with that.
the
they
haunted
did a
Oaks of
great
Bonaire.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
was
what
fun.
it is. Yeah.
And yeah, that was fun. You did that as well.
Yes, I actually ended up going twice.
Okay. It was impressive.
Well, it was cool because the first week or two, maybe the first week or two they had it set up, they incorporated more later on in their season. So it was like I went back and saw things that I didn't see the first time. And I mean, for their first season being open, like the special effects, the
Oh
props,
yeah, there was
great.
one part of it. Not to give too much away, but I
Yeah,
thought I
right,
was
thank you.
literally in a scene from The Walking Dead.
Yes, yes,
And you know which area I'm talking about, I'm
yes. There was some fog.
sure. Yeah,
You kind of couldn't see a little bit.
Yeah.
Their actors were amazing.
They
They did such a good job.
Now, let's talk other big Kentucky things. Have you gone to Churchill Downs or Keeneland for any of the horse racing, not just the big Derby, or have you done any of those?
So have never got to do that. Growing up, there was a horse racing location in Eastern Kentucky called Thunder Ridge, and
Oh, okay.
they did I think car racing there at one
Okay.
point. But I never got to do. It was nothing like Keeneland,
Sure.
where you dress up and
Sure.
the hats and
Right.
the feathers, and I would love to eventually
Okay.
do that.
Definitely put that on your 2025 calendar. I'm trying to think of all the things. And it doesn't matter. You can go to Churchill on a Thursday night that's not fancy, or, but just it's fun to be around the industry here in Kentucky because it's such a prominent part of our history. Don't feel like you have to go to the biggest one, the biggest show first. It's fun every day.
Well, I look back at this past tourism year,
Mhm.
right? And a friend told me, because I'm very much work focused, and if I'm not at work, then I feel like I'm constantly canceling plans. I'm like, I'm cleaning my house, or I'm going to the gym. I mean,
Right.
who is? I feel like I'm like perpetually cleaning my house, but
It does have to be done.
it does have to be
It
done.
has to be done.
And it's just little old me and my cat. But I mean, when you're busy throughout the week,
Yeah.
your laundry piles up and so forth and so on. But a friend told me during this tourism year, she said, this is God getting you out. You have an excuse to get out on the weekend. And I just felt so happy, like more happy, I think, than I would have had in a summer, because it really did feel like a vacation,
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I went to probably 30, 40 different places, and
Yes.
now I have places. I'm talking to people that live here. They're like, what? That's right over there. It's
Yeah.
3 miles from my house, and when I bring family here, I'm getting so excited because I've brought family since then. We went to some of the places that I have been to, and, nobody can say, well, there ain't nothing over here to do.
no.
There's so much.
I mean,
to
you
There's
can
so
say
much.
it, but
Yes.
if it's accurate or not.
It-
And I guess with Kentucky Road Trips, one of the things we try to do is to be the biggest cheerleaders for the small places, the big, amazing places, the everything. There is so much to do, and it doesn't always require a lot of money.
Mhm.
There's a lot of ways you can do things that are very mindful of budgeting. There's some big splashy, fun, luxurious things you can do too, and hopefully there's time and money and everybody's schedule for those occasionally. But there's so much to do and so much to enjoy and so many people to talk to and so many stories to hear, and that's what I don't know.
And there's
So
a
much-
lot of good food to be eaten as well.
Yes, we love that part.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'm always down for food.
Yeah.
As I sit and had 2 plates of the pinto beans and sauerkraut that Tony had just a minute ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Good country cooking.
Yes.
It's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
And then there's some amazing chefs doing things here in Kentucky as well. So we really do have a great culture of several things. And then there's the bourbon industry. We haven't even talked about that. I don't know if you've been to any distilleries recently.
So there's one in Franklin, Kentucky that opened up just
Yes.
a couple, I can't think of what it's called.
You're talking about
Dueling grounds.
Mhm.
Yes. The owner of that is so nice. I have been to where some of the bigger ones are. I've never actually got to explore them or tour or anything, but there's some type of like bourbon like trail or something in Louisville, right? Like
Right.
it's like a trip or something like that, right? I
Well-
only know about this recently. I don't know much about it. But
Yeah. Well, there's a bourbon trail in the whole state.
Okay.
So, like things you can do. And then there
Okay.
are places in Louisville that you can like rent a bus or a van and they will take you. It's kind of like concierge on the trail. So they will take you from distillery to distillery. And that way you don't have to drink and you don't have to drive. It's, safe for everyone. And so there's lots of options when you're talking about the bourbon industry in Kentucky. Some really good things have been built around those experiences. And when I think about the bourbon industry, and we were just talking about outdoors, Bernheim Forest is another, it's not a state park, but have you seen the giants that have been built out of wood at Burnham.
Okay.
Those are something to see as well.
Isn't there like a really well-known pizza place that's over there too?
Oh, I don't know.
Like they have like deep dish pizzas or something.
We haven't found that.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
true. See,
Okay.
we need to find that too.
Or
Also,
there could be another lake where they have like but what you're talking about sounds very much, I think, what I've kind of heard before in the restaurant. But go ahead.
now right across from not really across the street from Burnham, but just down the road from Burnham's main entrance is also the kitchen table at the Jim Beam Distillery. And they have amazing pizza. It's a pizza.
Okay.
It's a wood fired pizza oven. So, and everything I've ever tried there has been delicious.
Delicious.
They
Yeah.
have really good food as well as, you can tour the distillery. So anyway, Kentucky, there's no end to really exploring in as many different ways as you would like. So I guess as we wrap up in 2025, I'm sure you'll be going to our favorite Mammoth Cave National Park some as well.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
We mentioned cave tours. What has been your favorite thing to do at the park at Mammoth Cave National Park?
So I will say I had a little I don't know what you would say, a series of episodes or whatever where I was doing a lot of haunted and horror type
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And there's a lot in the area, and there's some old churches over there that have brought a lot of attention. There's like so many YouTube videos about I can't even think of what it's called.
Paranormal activity.
Yeah,
that
paranormal
happened.
activity.
Yeah.
And there's several churches over there, and I think it's really cool when you talk about the history of the cave. It was like a burial ground, and they used it for patients that had tuberculosis. And there's
Yes.
all this like lore around it and
Mhm.
everything. And they also, I haven't been in a couple of years, but I think they started like a self-guided kind of like discovery tour at the
Right.
Mammoth Cave.
Mhm.
But there's no cave that really compares to that. I mean, all the little caves that we have, that's the thing too that I wanted to talk about really quickly is you talked about the private ownership. I had no idea.
I know.
I thought that they were kind of all like government owned because you think like it's this big kind of grand
Mhm.
sort of like, formation or whatever. And
It seems like someone governmental should almost be in
Right.
charge if we're
Yeah.
going underground.
exactly, right?
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, the owners are, I'm sure responsible for the regulations and whatever. I have no idea what regulations they might have to meet for all of that. But Kentucky's just especially the karstland in Kentucky
Yes.
is such a unique place. And you were talking about all the stories with Mammoth Cave. We're fixing to be right at the place where we're commemorating Floyd Collins' entrapment and death in Sand Cave, which is really what brought so much notoriety to the cave area in Kentucky. And I think it really led to Mammoth Cave becoming a national park. So that's been something we've done a lot of research and talked to a lot of people about. We've actually done a couple of podcasts about that. So that's going to be a really interesting time in Kentucky in the next few weeks to look back and see what an impact all of this has made on the state.
Yeah, and in Mammoth Cave, people come here for Mammoth Cave, but they also go and they tour all the other things that are around.
Absolutely.
And when I was in Nolan, there were people there from like Cincinnati, and I met some other people I think that were from like Utah,
Mhm.
and they're like, yeah, we try to come out here once a year if we can because we just love it.
Mhm.
And you think that we have that right in our backyard. Like
Yeah.
we're so privileged to be able to we go out there on a weekend if we wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
How many other people have, just 56,000 acres hanging out of, natural beauty above ground, below ground, the rivers. It's just the two rivers that run through the park. It's a really special place, we think, too. So, well, we hope you have the best travel times in 2025. We will be watching your channels, and you are on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube.
I do a little bit on there. I feel like I'm kind of changing some of my format
Okay.
with my channel.
Okay.
I want to do like more human interest podcast
Okay.
style stuff.
Mhm.
I may still do some like exploration type things, but I feel like Facebook has been a really good place to reach those people. It seems like it hits more Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana. People,
Yeah.
a lot of people from Indiana come here to explore. So I'm just like grateful to be able to do this
Sure.
and to be able to spend this little bit of time with you all. And you guys are so special. Like you really
Thanks.
truly are. You guys have a huge impact and a huge following, and the way that you guys like do your content is so different than a lot of other people. And so I really appreciate that. I look up to you guys too. So you guys have shown me, like, you've helped me make agendas for where I'm going. And
Yeah.
so
We love a good list.
it's
Yeah.
it's we got friends in low places or high places. Not sure how
Just
that's
friends.
just
Rural
friends.
places.
Friends
So,
in rural places.
In
I like
rural
that.
places. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
That's
My,
great.
my holler folk over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we are. So now, before we go, you
Yeah.
are starting a podcast, you
Yes,
think? Okay.
yes.
So that's something people can be watching for.
Mhm.
Yes, and I want to do more like human impact stories. So I used to work for
You used to
TV
be a news
news.
anchor, right?
I was a news anchor. I interviewed people, and like that's why I love doing this type of stuff. Because I get to talk with people about them starting their businesses, the struggles that they went through to get there, the history, the legacy,
Mhm.
the heritage, the traditions that are around that. And I've always been so connected with that. And I really think it starts to come from my roots. There's so much history in Appalachia, and to be able to say, this person defied all odds in South Central Kentucky, even, and they have a flourishing business, or the family store. They worked at it. Tony,
Yeah.
sitting over here right now. To say that you worked at something when you were 14 and now you own it, like that just means so much to me. I don't know why I feel so connected to people the way that I do, but I've always been interested in human stories, and growing up in poverty and not really escaping Eastern Kentucky, because I would love to go back.
Yeah.
But, there's not really a lot of jobs. There's not really an economy. But, I have a story. You guys have a story. Everyone has a story. And
Absolutely.
you never know who that story might impact, or
Yeah.
who it might touch, coming from addiction, coming from a terminal illness, coming from a childhood, traumatic situation. And it's crazy because the first person that I'm going to interview, this individual actually was my neighbor for like 3 or 4 years in Bowling Green. And her son, I knew her son. He was 18 years old. He was just like freshly had joined the military. He died from a fentanyl overdose.
Oh.
And, that's such an epidemic here. And so it's like, I genuinely love to tell people stories and to interview people and to get that either message out or a lesson or their story. And so how can I combine that with like my love for journalism, my love for content creation, and like this is just like it's more of like a hobby, it's a passion, and so I've really kind of been struggling with that for a while, like what do I do with my YouTube channel, so where do I take that? And I feel like I've been doing a lot of praying, and God's been kind of like leading me to try to figure out where that direction is. And I feel like that's what I want to do.
Good.
Cool.
We're excited to
Yeah.
see how it all develops.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love to hear people's backstory on how they got where they, are today. I think it's inspirational.
It is, and it's so hard even right now for young people to get ahead in the world, start our homes, or, not the prices they used to be, cars, groceries, whatever it might be. And I feel like there's this sense of like hopelessness, that's in the youth today. And it's a societal thing. I think a lot's changed since the pandemic. And so, I watch a lot of people online and listen to people's stories, and I get inspired myself. And you really never know who's looking up to you, or who's watching you, or who's looking at your, place you visited on Kentucky road trips or road trips. And so there's so much power in this medium, and like you guys are doing it, I'm doing it. And it's just, I think the time for stuff like this is now.
Yeah.
And, even if we aren't inspired by someone, it helps just to hear someone else's story sometimes, just to be able to relate.
Yes.
To know that somebody else has been there, has gone through it, might be on the other side of something you're not even all the way uphill on yet. you're still climbing and they're already like at a better place. So that relatability really matters, I think,
Absolutely.
for all of us. So where can people, like, you are Brandon Jarrett.
Yes.
How does everyone find you?
You can just find, search my name, Brandon Jarrett, on YouTube, Facebook.
And it's Jarrett.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I don't know for sure what I'm going to call my podcast yet.
Okay.
I really want to be like instrumental going forward with this, because I wanted to do this for a couple years, but I was like, what do I do with these mediums? What am I going to do? Am I going to do like interview type stuff? But I feel like doing human interest is where I want to go with it. And
It seems to fit good with who we know you to be.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So comment on this podcast and tell Brandon what you think the name of his podcast should be.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, somebody could be the winner. Who knows? It's going to be named something, right?
Yes.
So great. This is exciting.
Yeah.
We're excited for you.
I really appreciate this. Is the first time I've actually been like interviewed.
The interviewer.
So
the
interviewee.
interviewee.
So there's so much more to do also in Eastern Kentucky, y'all. I feel like I didn't even hit like
It's
the
okay.
tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay.
We're not going to try to. We could never inventory everything for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, you hit some good spot. Good spot. So thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
to Green River Hill Grocery
Absolutely.
and having dinner with us
Yeah.
and letting us talk to you for a little while.
Absolutely.
We wish you a fabulous 2025.
Thank you.